Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson had a solid preseason debut. Now, it wasn't as fantastic as Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, anything like that, but he had a really solid preseason debut, and I was more impressed with Zach Wilson than any other quarterback, not because, he had an amazing stat line, anything like that, but because a lot of the narratives that were being pushed about Zach Wilson, I think, have kind of been put to hold for at least this moment. Because remember, last week I made a video saying, should New York Jets fans be worried or concerned about Zach Wilson due to his poor training camp performance? And a lot of you guys came on here and said, yeah, Zach Wilson's going to be a bust. He's not going to be good. And he came out and he kind of shut a lot of you guys up. He was 6-9 passing for 63 passing yards. Like, he had a really solid game. Now, although he didn't throw a touchdown or anything like that, when he came in, he did lead some really good drives. He has a pretty good connection with Corey Davis. I was really impressed with Zach Wilson. He looked poised. He was getting on the offensive line. He was galvanizing his team. This is what you want to see. On top of that, the rain game looked really good also, but that's a topic for another video. But I was really impressed with Zach Wilson in this game, and like I tried to tell a lot of people last week, do not overreact to what you hear in training camp, because every single year we hear about how all these guys are having great training camps, are doing everything right, and then comes time for them to replicate in the game, and we don't really hear any of those guys. How many years do you always hear of sleeper guys who have great training camps and the regular season rolls around and they don't do anything? Like, you got to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to training camp. Me personally, I'm somebody who I want to see what you do on the field. And from what I've heard about Zach Wilson coming out of training camp compared to what I saw during his brief debut with the Jets against the New York Giants, he didn't look anything about what I've been hearing. Like, I didn't see a quarterback that was struggling to go through his progressions. I didn't see a quarterback that, was kind of gun shy. Like, I saw a quarterback out there that was confident, poised, and he looked like he was prepared. And Zach Wilson has been putting in a lot of work. He's been staying after practice. He's been the first guy there, the last guy to leave. Like, I believe Zach Wilson is going to be a really solid quarterback for the New York Jets. He showed his arm strength. He had a couple of passes that he was able to fit in the tight windows. He went through his reads. Now, I still want to see him get a little bit more playing time. I would like to see him play, at least a full half of preseason football. But for right now, I am really encouraged out of what I saw out of Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson doesn't have a bad team around him. Like, the Jets roster right now is better than what it ever was when they had Sam Darnold at quarterback. A lot of people were telling me in the comment section that Zach Wilson was a mistake because they should have kept Darnold and they should have traded down from the second overall pick and built the team up. But sometimes new coaching staff just want to bring in a new quarterback. They want to have a new face in there. And the Jets have done a really good job giving, Zach Wilson all the talent to at least have a pretty solid rookie season. A lot of you guys down in the comment section didn't talk about how Joe Douglas improved the offensive line. You already had Mekhi Becton. Now you traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker at offensive guard. You also signed another offensive tackle who is really solid, and Morgan Moses, who was, let go by Washington. So the Jets have definitely made some moves. You improve the wide receiving core. You bring in Corey Davis. You still have Jamison Crowder, one of the better slot receivers in the league. Still got Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore. You do have a lot of running backs there, but, I think the running game is going to get going. Like, I find it crazy how everybody just tries to push their narrative, but they never look at things from a different perspective. Like, I think that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have done a pretty good job in making sure that Zach Wilson has enough to have a solid rookie season. Now, do the Jets still have a lot of ways that they can improve and continue to build this team around Zach Wilson? Yes, they do. They still could improve their other guard spots. They could improve at center. But overall, I think the Jets have done a really good job giving Zach Wilson with some some good pieces to be successful this rookie year. And I'm really happy that Zach Wilson had a really good preseason performance, because I was getting really tired of seeing people, push this narrative that Zach Wilson was going to be a bust. And I'm somebody who I don't like to make these assumptions about players until I actually see them play on the field. I need to see somebody have a significant amount of game time, significant amount of game film, until I'm able to give a proper judgment on that player. A lot of you guys just sit back and you make these claims and they haven't even played a single down. Like, I was like, can we at least give Zach Wilson a preseason game at least to see how he performs? And you guys know what's funny? It's crazy how Justin Fields was going trending on Twitter. So is Mac Jones and Trey Lance. But everybody was quick to say Zach Wilson was going to be a bust. But yet when he had a really good, solid performance, I didn't see anybody talking about how great he was. He didn't go trending. So I find it so crazy how people are just so hell-bent on just trying to push their narrative to the point that they can't even give credit when credit is due. Zach Wilson had a really good preseason performance. It was. And it's really irritating, because you just continue to see people push these narratives about guys who they like. And I feel like a lot of people are just still upset that the New York Jets decided to draft Zach Wilson over Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Like, just because you evaluate quarterbacks differently doesn't mean that he's going to be a bust. You see, that's where a lot of you guys go wrong. Everybody has their different philosophy when it comes to determining how successful a quarterback is going to be. My philosophy is, if you go to a team that has a good coaching staff that knows how to utilize your strengths, you're going to be a solid QB. And if Robert Saleh is the head coach and has assembled the coaching staff that we believe that he has assembled, being really good, then Zach Wilson shouldn't struggle. He should be pretty solid. There has never been a quarterback drafted in the first round that has been a bust with a good coaching staff, aside from RG3. RG3 is a bust due to the fact that he got a little bit, cocky. He wanted to change things up. But outside of him, I can't recall. So for Zach Wilson, I'm really happy that Zach Wilson performed the way he did. Like, I just find it really crazy how everybody just never talks about how good he played, but everybody raves about Justin Fields. Everybody plays favorites, and that's something that really irritates me. That's a big reason why I made this podcast. The reason why I made this podcast in my YouTube channel is because I don't want to be biased. I don't want to, ignore when somebody does good, and I don't want to ignore when somebody does bad. Like, I want to look at everybody 50-50, and I still feel like a lot of people aren't looking at Zach Wilson 50-50. Like, if Zach Wilson comes out and he has a great preseason game this week and his last preseason game isn't great, then of course you're going to have the haters coming out. If Zach Wilson has some good games during the regular season, nobody's going to talk about it. But as soon as he has one bad game, everybody's going to be quick to call him a bust. Like, it just really irritates me how people are just so stubborn in their narratives that they just have to be right. You still have people out there who think Justin Herbert is going to be a bust, but I was really impressed with what I saw out of Zach Wilson. I'm really happy that Zach Wilson had success during his brief stint when he was in against the New York Giants, because I'm not a Zach Wilson fanboy. I'm just a fan of the truth. I'm a fan of being honest, and I feel like a lot of people aren't giving Zach Wilson a fair chance. Everybody's just so hell-bent on trying to say that Zach Wilson is a bust just because they felt like Justin Fields should have went number 2 overall instead of Zach Wilson.